side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, and the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, November 7th, 2021. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with my co-host,
Mr. Steve. Good to see you, bud.
Bennett.
Oh, man, I should have had that queued up. My bad.
So here we are. We're in the warmth tonight and not in the woods.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, that night we had a low of 48 degrees, and which wasn't bad.
Well, that depends on who you
Considering-
ask.
Considering yesterday we had a high of 48 degrees.
Yeah.
And it's already down to 36 already.
Well, earlier this week, this past week, we had we had a couple mornings of good frost good heavy frost. And so the leaves are starting to change now. And which I always love fall in Kentucky, and made a trip over there to Mammoth Cave to check them out.
I saw that.
And it looks good. It's looking good. Well, I expect I want to see a lot of the reds and stuff. I'll be making another trip over there over the next week or so. But
well, you know what I'm going to do in this show tonight. When I get done, I'm going to put the link to your channel in the description.
Oh no, you don't got to do that. Anybody could find me, man. If they want to see, I don't do anything.
Like Chris Bennett isn't a common name here in the United States. Chris.
No, I guess that's true. Yeah, you can type in Chris Bennett on YouTube, you get a lot of people named Chris Bennett.
That's right. Hello, my name is Chris Bennett. I would like to sell you this wonderful can for only 65 shekels. Wrong, Chris Bennett.
There's only one. The ugliest and baldest is me.
I don't. Well, you know what? I'm just because of that. I'm going to find an uglier and meaner and balder Chris Bennett.
I don't know, man. Oh, Mick watched one of my videos. I know. Well, Mick's commented on some of my videos. I don't know if he's here or not tonight, but Mick, appreciate it.
Yes, but he hasn't meatloafed you yet.
Yeah.
So, folks, let's do the roll call First in the house tonight was our good friend B. Lynn. B,
B.
hello.
Hi, B.
Patrick McGuire in the house.
Pat.
Hello, Patrick.
Good to see you.
Bob Lemley. Bob, hello.
Hey, Bob, welcome.
We got Joe, Western New York Bigfoot Investigation
Joe.
Group in the house.
Good
Em
to see
and
you again,
Chris in the
Em and
house.
Chris,
As
welcome.
always.
Yeah.
Of course, we have Arthur Watch. But Arthur is in the house. Hello, welcome again, Arthur.
Welcome.
Troy's review is here. Hello, Troy. To
Hey,
you.
Troy.
And who else we got? We got Low Rider in the house. He's always here. Jay
Rider.
Fritz, good to see you. And of course, Nikki over at Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks.
Oh,
Hello,
there's somebody
Nikki.
named Sherry Cotter. Hi, Sherry.
Sherry's in the house, of course. Aaron Mollenkamp
Aaron
is in the house as well. So hello and welcome to tonight's interesting show, which I'm sure that's people curious how the narrative of Bigfoot is lost.
Yeah.
And a lot to talk about that particular topic tonight, and a lot of reasons why, I think. And I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days, and it always gets me down a bit, to tell you the truth. We bust our chops to get out there and do what we need to do, and we're trying to be positive. We try to use cognitive and critical thinking in everything we do.
All right.
But yet, there's a narrative that is so obtuse. There are several narratives going on at once that's killing the real narrative, the narrative of the people out there doing the work, the good work.
Right.
I'm not talking about the pseudoscience where everything is a Bigfoot, the pseudoscience where I'm feeding them and they're knocking on my door asking for garlic. That's all hurting us. Part of the problem. Of the problem, but there's a number of different problems. But what got me to this point? Well, every once in a while, I just, for the hell of it, Google, or I just simply do a Bigfoot search in YouTube. And of course, it's inundated with Hollywood TV shows. Yeah. Finding Bigfoot, Expedition Bigfoot, Mountain Monsters, and whatever else. That seems to be like the top 50. Then as we go down, then we have the cats that have these big channels. One guy, I forget his name, bald guy, glasses, fits in with us really well, except his attitude. English guy who's trying to string together why he believes Bigfoot's not real. Where are the bodies? Where are the bodies? Well, you moron, we've answered that question 1,000 times, but apparently you just want to ask the question without doing the other side. These are what I call hit pieces. And the mainstream media used to do hit pieces like that by putting people on and rolling their eyes. Oh, there's a Bigfoot sighting.
Right.
And that kind of incongenuous crap. But now we have these YouTubers out here that are only doing one side of the story or the other. I like to, when I do stuff, I try to there it is. You try so hard, get so close. It's pronounced Mollenkopf.
I've seen some videos like that.
Isn't it pronounced Mollenkopf? That sounds like a German name.
Sounds Adam. Right, yeah.
Mollenkopf. Kopf meaning head. So, see, you're Mollenkopf. I am Dummkopf.
I watched the video of an English guy, English accent speaking guy on YouTube the other day, and he was talking about the, I was going over footage of the Mammoth Cave Bigfoot shooting video thing, or not video, but incident report. And I saw one video from that guy, and I don't know, maybe the same one. He said, he told the man was supposed to have fired 2 shots at a Bigfoot at Mammoth Cave, but he said, I can tell you he did not shoot at a Bigfoot because there is no Bigfoot. Well, I thought, that's it, dude. He's done solved the mystery.
So sure of himself.
Yeah. I don't want to be too sure about that. But.
See, I wasn't sure what Molin meant, but now I do. Thank you, Aaron. We won't put that one on the air.
Yeah,
you'll all have to Google it. Das Google. Anyway, it's amazing, and this guy is, he just does a hit piece, and one of the biggest hit pieces I recently saw is by this channel called what the heck is it? Brightside. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Bright Side or Brightside.
Yeah.
And they did a hit piece, and I actually talked to Carl Crew today about it because the name of the piece was "How Two Brothers Fooled the World into Believing Bigfoot."
Hmm.
And it starts off. I'm not going to play it because I want to avoid all the. I didn't have time to put together a video with voicing over some of the mistakes. I may do that at some later date, but I can just talk about this briefly. And it is such a hit piece. They start off talking about Jerry Crew and how,
Right.
he's walking and he sees these huge footprints exactly like a human's, except we know as people in this field that a Sasquatch print, and they look nothing like a human print. They had no arch.
Right.
They had so they couldn't be exactly like a human foot.
Right.
So it goes on. And that was my first flag to saying, uh-oh, this is a hit piece.
Yeah.
So eventually what he ends up going makes this giant leap. Of course, we talk about bad researchers. Well, here's one. He goes on to say, well, it's very apparent that, Wilbur Wallace, Ray Wallace, and his nephew all conspired to do this hoax.
Mm.
What? Wait. The nephew found the prints, and he said he never heard of it. His Uncle Ray never talked about this.
Right.
There was no confession by Wilbur. There was no confession by the nephew, but he puts together like there's this grand conspiracy, and they even tried to drop it on the Patterson Gimlin film. Right. They try to drop where is that comparison? Now, many years ago, this goes back to 2003. ABC got a story wrong when we had limited, email. AOL was a big thing, and ABC had a big news channel on there, and they had put out a piece saying that Roger Patterson confessed the whole thing was fake on his deathbed.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
What he confessed was to Bob that he used a fake Bob Gimlin in some of the presentations.
Yeah.
And then they confused the Ray Wallace story with it. So it was a complete thing. And I asked them to source their material. They said they would get back to me and never did. Never retracted, never corrected, nothing. Just ignored it. Yeah. Pieces of what. So this is nothing but, and they go on to, to kind of besmirch Jerry Crew a little bit, who, Carl reminded me was a Sunday school teacher and very well respected and very reserved kind of guy.
Right.
They also made a comment that, Jerry took, told this thing to a local taxidermist who confirmed them and cast them. Well, no, Jerry Crew went to Bob Titmus and bought the supplies, and Jerry Crew casted them himself. Yeah. Nowhere were they confirmed, So this is nothing but a hit piece full of some artistic license, I think, and some very, very bad and investigation jumps.
Maybe we should have called Carl. I mean, he's been on the show before. Yeah. Jerry Crew's nephew, Carl. And,
I was thinking I didn't want to impose too much because it was such short notice. Yeah. But even so, it's just a hit piece, and I don't need to get him angry over this piece either any more than he was probably angry. And this article has 6 figures in views.
Man,
when you see that, how many people are getting misinformation? It just drives me crazy. And these guys are actually, as I like to say, not so bright side. And that's the actual, and there it is. They have like this big building. Oh, Wallace Brothers Logging Company. They failed to state that Ray Wallace was nowhere in the state at the time. He was back in his home state, Oregon. It's very, very disingenuous and hit pieces. And we're going to get into the reasons why it's so easy to make hit pieces on Bigfoot. Let's face it, it's easy to make hit pieces on everything. There's been talks about, hit pieces. I mean, we see it now every day. Hit pieces on politicians, hit pieces on vaccinations, hit pieces on whatever, UFOs, paranormal, everything. It's, it's like this drive-by media bit here is now spreading into these YouTuber critics or skeptics that, we're going to do a video on Bigfoot. Why Bigfoot is fake. Like they're, please.
Well, on that note, though, I mean, there are skeptic sites, supposed skeptic sites, and one of them used to be the JREF. It's now something International Skeptics Forum or something. And a lot of those folks there are not really skeptics because they already have their mind made up about stuff.
Well,
and they'll just shoot it down. Well, Bigfoot doesn't exist because one's not been proven to exist. Well, that's true in a way, but you're supposed to have an open mind, and you're supposed to look at evidence, which means there could be something to it. Even if you can't deny scientific evidence has not been brought forward, like there's nothing on the in the DNA record.
Right.
Well, you still got to be able to keep that open mind. Say, well, people are seeing something.
Right.
There's something responsible for those sighting reports. There's something responsible for those tracks.
Right.
And
it's either one of three things: a known animal, a hoaxer, or a unknown animal.
An unknown, right?
One of the three. And you have to use critical thinking. And I'll give you a good example. This comment that was made in regards to some sightings by, respectable people such as myself. And the person said, I think there are a lot of good, intelligent, honest people who think they saw Bigfoot and really believe it when they tell you about it, but still are wrong. That's not a critical thinker there. That is not a critical thinker. That is a person with bias. And if they're going to come from that angle, no matter how much they say they're a critical thinker, they're not. They're biased. And that's their own confirmation bias shooting right there. Because everything is supposed to be taken on a case-by-case basis, which it is not, obviously, by that particular drive-by comment.
Well, what that statement says to me is this person is saying, okay, they're honest people that actually believe they saw a Bigfoot, but in reality, nobody saw a Bigfoot because Bigfoot doesn't exist.
Right. Exactly.
And, you can't get past the fact that some people may have actually seen a bear stand up on its hind legs and walk away and think they saw a Bigfoot. That's true. There's been a lot of mistaken identities.
Yeah, absolutely. But, not saying that, but just to shoot down everybody else. Now, a couple of people have wandered in here. We got Brian and Chewy Go Hiking. Hello,
hey, Brian. Welcome.
Charlie Wonton in the house. Hello.
Charlie, welcome.
Grasshopper's in the house. Says, great. I click on the link. YouTube comes up with an ad for manscaping. And guess who it is? It's Mr. Mick.
Mick, welcome, bud.
Sci-fi. There he is.
Good to see you.
So, yep. And it says, it does sound strange that Ray Wallace's demeaning wife was alleged to be in the Sasquatch suit of the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Oh, well, yes. I've read that somewhere and laughed it off. There's no way. I mean, I've seen pictures of Mrs. Wallace, and she wasn't that bulky. But
and she was no Miss California either. I'm sorry, I had to say it. I think I just caused Chris a minor heart attack there.
I didn't want to say that. I'm not one to talk about someone's looks. But
well, that's why I sit in the big boy chair here. I take the heat for the shots I take.
Now, we gotta look at the reality here, though. When Ray Wallace passed away, his wife did show some stompers that he had made, and he had done a little trickster work. Okay, and there's evidence of that in the what was the Blue Mountain tracks.
Blue Mountain tracks. Yep.
Yeah, the Blue Mountain tracks, which we have, there's good photographic evidence of those tracks. And you can see one of the stompers that he had made, and he had hand carved these things, whittled them out, shaped them. He did a really fine job. He was probably a great hoaxer, okay? But he did for sure hoax those Blue Mountain tracks.
Yeah, let me pull those up.
Yeah.
And that's the nephew, who, by the way, found the tracks, found the casts, and but was not involved in making any of them.
Right.
Which
the one
that hit piece says he was.
The one that he's holding in his right hand is the one that identified. You see that scar along his fingertips where he's holding it?
Right,
that's what's identified on the ground in the cast. Yeah. Was he in on everything? No. I don't even think he was in on that.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Not really that much about, but that's what I have on Wallace in the quick queue here that I could manage to pull up real fast.
You see, when Ray died, that's when that English thing came out, and the guy said, "Oh yeah, the man that did the Patterson Gimlin film is dead," and it was all a hoax, And how they put Ray Wallace in with Patty, I have no idea.
No, I'm not calling her a battle axe. I'm just saying, she's
from what
pretty.
I thought,
she's a
small
pretty
woman,
not so much.
She was a small woman. I thought, there's no
I don't
way
know.
she was
Truthfully, in truth, I've never seen Mrs. Wallace.
Well, I just saw the video where after Ray had died, the news story where she's, I think she was holding up some items that he had made, and the maid even showed some gloves where he was starting to work on a suit.
Right.
Gorilla gloves. I don't know. We know how those gorilla gloves glow. They show up anywhere, don't they, Steve?
Yeah, like in Todd Standing's backseat. So let's just finish up on this comment here. So again, what happens is, and this comes from criticalthinking.org, which basically says critical thinking varies according to the motivation underlying it. When grounded in selfish motives, it is often manifested in the skillful manipulation of ideas in service of one's own or one's group's vested interest. Yeah. So if the vested interest is Bigfoot is not real,
right,
they are going to use the banner of critical thinking to muddy the waters, per se. Yes. As such, it is typically intellectually flawed. However, pragmatically successful it might be. In other words, saying no matter how flawed it may be, critical thinking, when applied to even a bias, can sound legitimate.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is this: every Bigfoot sighting needs to be investigated with zero bias.
Right.
Okay.
That's it.
Possibility Bigfoot exists. Possibility it doesn't.
See, that's the problem with being a skeptic. Okay. You're skeptical of new evidence, and you have to really sort through and find out what's real and what's maybe, imagined. But to be a skeptic, you've got to be willing to sort through that evidence. You can't just have somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, man, I had a Bigfoot sighting," and then you tell them, "No, you didn't," because Bigfoot doesn't exist.
We are using the wrong term. Yeah, that is not a skeptic, Chris. A person who says Bigfoot does not exist. That's the same as the person that a knower. That's another knower right there. Bigfoot does not exist. Oh, you're a knower? Because
a satirist.
No, a knower. That's something they like throwing at us. Oh, they're not a Bigfoot researcher. They're a knower. They're not a Bigfoot believer. They're a knower. Yeah. And you know what? I don't particularly make those blanket statements that, hey, Bigfoot exists. I believe they exist, because I've had my own experiences that I'm not going to blanketly force you or force that person to believe it exists.
Right.
I just, here's the
Exactly.
real evidence and here's the real story behind it.
Yes.
We want to get, I like the full encompassing story. Hey, you know what? Yes, Ray Wallace did fake tracks. Did he fake the ones that Jerry Crew had found? I don't know. But the cast that Jerry Crew have look nothing like the stompers that his
No.
nephew found in the garage.
Exactly.
Right? Did I see a Sasquatch? Let's go back to that comment. Yes, I did. And guess what? I saw it with my own eyes. And I
Yeah.
know what a bear looks like. And I'm not predisposed to say every animal in the woods is a Bigfoot. Guess what? I've seen deer. I've seen fisher cats. I've seen porcupine. Let's not get into porcupine gate again. I've seen a porcupine climb a tree in it and say it was a Sasquatch. Let me go on record right there. So what I guess I'm getting at is this, is that you can have confirmation bias on both sides of the fence. That is something skeptics do not want to acknowledge.
Right.
They don't want to acknowledge that they can have their own confirmation bias too, that nothing is a Sasquatch.
Right.
So that is
Well, when you get into the
I
deal-
agree, Mick, 100%. I think every honest proponent of Sasquatch must be a skeptic at heart. It's cynicism that's intellectually dishonest. Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Correct. I look at every single thing with an open book. When I talk to a witness that says he had seen something, and I know it's a few years ago, there's not going to be much more, I have to run the gambit. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he saw a Sasquatch or she saw a Sasquatch. But if it's a recent sighting and there's evidence to contradict that, let me give you two examples. Let me give you a really good example. There were two young boys that had a sighting in Whitehall, said they had seen this thing and yada, 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 yada. Well, as we start looking around the area, we find black bear scat.
Yeah.
So could this have been a black bear standing up looking at them? They're young, could have scat. Absolutely. This could have been one of those infants. There was bear scat there to prove it. Now, conversely, a person like Joe Rogan, who believes that every Bigfoot sighting now is also because he felt that the people he was talking to were not being honest. Haven't we said this before, that a lot of the people that have these Bigfoot sightings want to belong to a special club?
Yeah.
But one of the things that really shook him was this, talking about Les Stroud and how, oh yeah, he's the survivor man, doing this. But then he hooks up with this wacky guy that even the people in the Bigfoot research community call him out on his BS.
Right.
But yet he goes around and, they show these pictures. And this is Joe Rogan saying that are obviously masks or whatever. And then they say, you be the judge. Well, we are being the judge. It's bullshit. But that's part of this horrible narrative that is being stolen from us because of maneuvers like that.
Yeah.
Where... And we're going to get into this in a little bit too about what is the root causes of the narrative being destroyed.
Right.
I mean, the narrative is the real narrative is that people have had legitimate sightings. And when I say legitimate, means they have seen something and are being truthful, and that needs to be investigated. And that in a lot of the investigations, some researchers have found some corroborative evidence, but again, corroborative evidence doesn't mean physical evidence, nor does it mean circumstantial evidence. What I'm saying is corroborative evidence like, oh yeah, something did come very big, went through here. There's no signs of any ungulate track, stuff like that.
Right.
That's what needs to be done. There are several levels of different evidence: corroborative, circumstantial, and of course, physical evidence. Now, people ask me all the time, what is witness testimony? It's not circumstantial. It's what we call direct evidence. That is direct evidence. That's why when the person goes on the stand, they call it direct testimony. Now, again, we all know that human testimony can be flawed. You could have 5 people say the same guy steal, rob a bank, and they'll have 5 different descriptions. Maybe a couple of them, have them going this way or that way. right? Because everybody's perspective has a little bit of a change. But the one thing that's for certain is that was the bank robber, right? People want to hit. Oh well, people's testimony is blah 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 blah. Yeah, but they've all said they saw the bank robber, and rest assured, the physical evidence shows that the bank did get robbed. So you have 3 people have a Bigfoot sighting, right? Which happened in Whitehall, and they all describe something very similar, which there should be differences.
Yeah.
You know, like I watched one video that condemned the Patterson Gimlin film, the bald English guy. He condemned them because over the years they have changed the height. Well, as a good investigator, I know that over time, space, distance, height, weight tends to change in one's mind sometimes.
Yeah.
That's very common. So he's using something that's very common as an excuse. Right?
Yeah.
To say it's not real. That is the problem. We have uneducated people that are these critics that are putting this stuff out there who haven't done any of their due diligence. It's just a hit piece.
Well, yeah, too. And before we get too far away from it, though, when Les Stroud had Todd Standing on his Bigfoot shows, he did put out a little disclaimer saying, look, there are a lot of people that say, some of Todd's stuff is questionable, he put out a little disclaimer there saying that not everybody agrees that Todd Standing's work is, on the up and up. So it's not like he put him out as saying, yes, this is the go-to guy for Bigfoot evidence. No, he didn't do that. But Les Stroud's encounter he had was a little interesting. I mean, I know you've heard it before, Steve. We talked about the noise there. There's a couple. Him and his wife were camping, and something came walking through the woods. And the other one, I think, was in Alaska, which he actually had some footage of. That was pretty interesting. Not of the Bigfoot, but he had some footage of his reaction when he heard something blow at him or snort at him through the brush. And that was pretty cool.
Now, Mick, I do not condone violence whatsoever.
No,
because like I said, I don't hate Todd Standing.
No,
I don't hate him.
Not at all.
I have no animosity. I don't want to beat him up. I don't want to do nothing of the sort. No, not at all. This is all mental chess stuff. Like, you want to put something out, I'll combat that. That's not a problem. But why? Just why do you got to be? Why do you got to be a bag? Why not just? Why do you got to be a tool bag? Just be honest, for crying out loud. Be honest.
Why you want to have gorilla hands laying in your truck? And then a couple of months later come out with a Bigfoot hand video. Why do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Well,
don't. That's neither here. But that's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
Is this affinity to the media loves big stories, and what it is, yeah, but God hates you. He might hate me, but he's got no reason to hate me other than the fact I peed in his Cheerios a couple of times. But so be it.
Oh man,
I don't hate anybody. If I'm driving down the road and I saw, standing on the side of the road with a flat tire, at the very least, I would throw a tire jack at him as I drove by. Very least.
Well, if you're going to get that close to a Bigfoot on a routine basis, why don't you just take a dart gun with you and a sedative and sedate him, and then take a few hair samples and a little blood sample, and then he wakes up.
Why? Oh, we're talking about a Sasquatch. I thought we were talking about Todd Standing. Yes, we're going to take a few beard samples. Anyway, yeah, and Sherry's absolutely right. Sherry, who knows me, you would stop and help. Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah,
and that's me, not because, and it's probably true. Hey, that's Todd. Oh, he's got a flat tire. Well, let me go help him. That would be me.
Yeah.
That would be me,
Wouldn't tell him who I was till after we left, though.
Well, it's kind of hard for me to roll up on somebody and not know who I am anymore.
Well, that's why I like to stay on the down low. I didn't really, I don't care having my face out on the show, but it's something we had to do because of the Squatch-D TV.
I wonder if he has a dartboard of me in with my.
Maybe
I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, getting back to our story of how the real narrative of Bigfoot is lost. And you see, as always, the chat room puts me in a great mood. So thank you guys. So how that's true. Why don't we that's a great idea, Bob. Why don't we send Todd Standing Chris Noel's porcupine?
Well,
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah. Now, anytime we point out anything that these guys have done or their work, their research, it's not a stab at them. We don't really nothing personal. It's just the dude put out a porcupine climbing a tree. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to Todd, though, it is a stab at him because he's continuously prepared. Like I say, I will say this. I think, the porcupine situation is there's a guy, he has a very high opinion of himself and he believes it's a Sasquatch and damn it, he's not listening to anybody else because he's the smartest one in the room. That's his issue.
Yeah.
So is he hoaxing? No, he's just being a bit of, pardon the expression, he's being a bit of a twat, as I would call him. He's doing the same thing Standing does. But see, Standing has a totally different motive. It's about popularity. It's about getting on TV shows. It's about charging $3,000 for an expedition. It's about, which he does. And it's about getting, his face on TV and making money from it. So there's a distinct difference between a Todd Standing and a Chris Noel. And even though I kind of poke fun at that, there is a distinct difference. There's a distinct difference between, a Scott Carpenter and Chris Noel versus a Todd Standing or a Tom Biscardi or anybody like that. There's a big difference between that. We have these guys stuck with these very bad pseudoscience and some very bad stuff that are trying to say it's real. That hurts the narrative. Trust me, that's part of the problem. And then we have the other part of this this pie. Another slice of the pie is people like Todd Standing and the Biscardis that are promoting hoaxes, and that's exactly what it is. Whether he's a hoaxer himself or promoting a hoax, all the same difference. Because what happens is when Todd Standing creates a hoax, he goes around and promotes it. So then you have these situations where you have people promoting these hoaxes. You have the other group that's promoting this really junk science. Look at the tree stump behind me, and then you have these other. I just saw one today. It's like, here's this video of a Sasquatch, and watch how its face is appearing in the tree, and all I'm seeing is a tree. And I go, well, I hope you all saw that. And of course, the hosts are like, oh, yeah, that was amazing. Oh, my goodness, that's wonderful. Part of the problem there, folks, because you're showing them nothing.
I saw a video not too long ago.
That's the other slice of the pie is the woohoos. That doesn't help things.
The cloaking Sasquatch. I watched this video. It's like leaves. I'm like, okay, where's the Sasquatch and when is he going to cloak? I guess maybe they're showing after the fact or something. It was the cloaking Sasquatch, or I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it for hits on a video or something.
No, you know what it is. And that's where Joe Rogan is right. There is that slice of people that want to feel so special and belong and be at the top of the food chain and say, look at all this stuff, all this evidence. Look at all these tree bakes. Look at all these glyphs. Show me the monkey. Show me the monkey. Right? You have so much. Show me the monkey. That's why we are starting to get laughed on, because guess who the media goes to? Not to the boring folks. Like last week, great show. We had a lot of fun. Not the most exciting. Couple of things happen. Not the most exciting. But to me, it's, hey, we're all camping together. We take everybody with us. Hey, we're out here. Let's have some fun. Let's have a few laughs. Let's talk Bigfoot. Let's listen. Let's do that. Just like any other real life expedition, with the exception of we do a little more lighting stuff because we need to obviously, get you guys interested in the camera, the remote camera and stuff like that. Usually I stealth around in complete darkness or red light and very low light. But, you have these slices of the pie that are building the narrative, because guess who the media is paying attention? The carnival barkers.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention to the scientists doing the work. They're not paying attention to the serious researchers doing the work, or the quiet researchers doing the work. Right? They're paying attention to the carnival barkers, the people that say, "Oh, I got Bigfoot all over my property. 5,000 ones right over here. There's 20 over there, and there's another clan over there, and they all come down and ask for garlic, and then I can hear them hooping and hollering, but nothing ever comes.
One that gets me too: the Bigfoot shaking the tree that's wearing blue jeans and snow boots.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the standing Biscardi.
Right.
Dire group, that's all right there. That's that other slice of the pie. The Squatch Master group, the Sasquatch Ontario group, they all are part of that pie. So
there's nothing wrong with being skeptical. Matter of fact, I highly recommend it.
Yep. Then you have people like, there's this big conference actually there's only about 25 people left from what I heard, but there's this conference and this guy, this famous Russian, has a Bigfoot call in. That doesn't help us. Again, that goes to that other slice of the pie, the loose side of the pie that everybody pays attention. So then you have that other piece of the pie, which is the drive-by YouTuber media that now wants to sit there and make up stories or get the story wrong, but really don't care. They're just going to put it out there. Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. If I get something wrong, I'll be the first one to freaking correct it. And I've proven that.
Yeah.
I have proven that. Right? I can be wrong. But none of these people will ever admit one cheaty thing that they're ever wrong.
That's the trick there.
And that is another problem, is
right.
How the narrative is lost, refusing to admit when you're wrong.
If you speak, and the Steve and Leo covered this, Bigfoot Okanagan, when they were on the show. When you're talking to those people that can never be wrong, okay, they won't even consider the possibility that they're wrong. That's not exactly the most intelligent way of doing things. Because no matter how sure you are, you always got to think in the back of your mind, well, maybe I could be mistaken. And if you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Hey, look, I messed up. I'm wrong. I thought this was this and it wasn't. I'm wrong. And what's it going to hurt? You're admitting you're human. But those people cannot admit any mistake, any wrong. No.
I'm also going to say
Grasshopper says, I'm always right unless I'm wrong. Yeah.
That's right. Correct. I thought I was wrong. I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken.
What is wrong with being wrong? Okay, if you're wrong and you admit it, okay, great. Enough said. If you're wrong and never admit it, like my wife, I don't. She gets by with it. I don't.
Right. Grass says, I prefer the words correct and incorrect. Right and wrong can be subjective.
Yeah.
I understand that, but now as a great leader of mine once said, now we're just talking semantics.
Yeah, it's just tomato and
tomatoes. Yeah, tomatoes and tomatoes.
Tomato and tomato. Tomato.
Yes, tomato. Yeah, so that's just some of the parts of the pie. Now, where is the other part of the pie? And this is what's really gonna stir people up, is Hollywood. Hollywood is a huge problem with the pie. You want to know why we lost the narrative? Because Hollywood is always trying to make this exciting.
Yeah.
And when you make it exciting, it leads to chicanery. It leads to hoaxing by people that may have been hoodwinked into hoaxing. You know, I'm stuck now. What am I going to do? Right? Right?
Are we going somewhere with this, Steve? Or
no.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that, you know, people watch these shows that really lead to mountains of excitement that lead to nothing. Right. And I'm sorry, Oak Island, you know, I'll give you a good example, The Curse of Oak Island. First couple of seasons were really pretty interesting. I'm pretty friggin' bored with the show. You know, because all you do is now see, oh, we have this amazing find. Hey, look, I found a nail.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big whoop. Well, look at the historical importance to this. Yeah, okay. All right. So, but they make it so exciting. Oh, a great find. No, you know, they can't tell us the truth. They got to build it. And then you're let down. So guess what? You know, aside from people in the Bigfoot world, who the F watches any of the Bigfoot shows? Because it's nothing but all this build up to be disappointed yet again. Right?
Right.
You know, that is part of the problem too. And then you have shows, no offense taken, you can love the show or what, but then you have people, you know, instead of saying, you know, they should just come out and say, hey, mountain monsters is not real.
Yeah. But
they let it fly like it is.
Right.
Right. And, you know, the guys will tell you it's not real. You know, that's part of the show. But the show itself won't. Yeah. And then there's actually a sliver of people, including YouTubers, because I've seen the review videos, that think that this is true. And and that they represent what the Sasquatch community does.
Yeah. You know, and Mountain Monsters was good. It's fun to watch. Good entertainment. You know, they did do an episode about Mammoth Cave, and I watched the episode and I thought, that's funny. When were they here? Because, okay, you know, usually I would have heard about this. You know, Mountain Monsters is going to be here, you know, next week. You know, I would have heard about this. So I started doing some research in there and found out they filmed their entire episode in, I think it was West Virginia. They were supposed to have been in Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. They filmed the whole thing in West Virginia. Okay. Yep. But I knew that their show was entertainment. Okay. It's basically made up. Okay. But still, if they were going to come here to film, I would have liked to say hello. You know, hey guys.
I may say this to hurt some feelings, and it may hurt some feelings. It may cause some bad feelings, but you could tell people's motivations a few years back when the, you know, $1 million Bigfoot bounty came out.
Right. Yeah.
Who was on that show? Yeah. So what and where are they today?
Yeah.
You know, no offense, but a lot of those, we have one guy out there who doesn't even believe in Bigfoot, and he makes a hobby of making fun of people.
Right.
There comes a time when a little much is much. You know, and you know, you came into it, oh, I believe, and then all of a sudden you turn. Funny thing is, that's the same reason that comment came out of it. It was a very similar kind of person that came into it as a believer and then all of a sudden just turned on everybody. Okay, fine, whatever. Just go away. If you don't believe anymore, go away. No offense, but you know, this is why the real narrative is being lost.
Right.
And
maybe it's just
I'm just speaking from the cuff. If people's feelings are hurt, I apologize. But
well, maybe some guys get into this and maybe they had a sighting, or they haven't had a sighting yet, or they hadn't found any credible evidence. And you know, it really does take a lot of guts to be into it for the long haul, Steve, because you know as well as I do, I haven't had a sighting since 2010.
All right. Well, I was.
That's
let me
11
make this
years
clear.
ago, dude.
let me make this clear. I was approached by the Bigfoot Bounty Show.
Yeah.
And remember, I was thinking about teaming with you, but then they had told me something. I was like, "What? Ooh, no. You know, you're going to send us into the field to find Bigfoot evidence. Like, where's the Bigfoot evidence come from? Well, some of it we will probably manufacture ourselves. That's it. I'm done. Goodbye. Done.
Not
Done.
doing that.
Done. And that's why, boom. I'm like, no, thank you. Not interested anymore. Have a nice day. They actually came out to my house and filmed me at my house. And I was like, nope. When I heard that, I'm like, no, I don't like the integrity of this thing. So I've done TV. I've done TV before, and guess what? I always ask the questions up front. This, that, the other thing.
Yeah, you don't want to be put in the category of being a hoaxer,
right? Or a bullshit artist, or any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been on plenty of shoots, especially where, you know, they'll ask me to say something, but I'll say I can't say it like that because it's not factual.
Right.
And then they would always turn around, well, how about you say something that is factual, close to that? Okay, I will, and I would. And what I said was factual.
Yeah.
It may not be the smoking gun they're looking for, and it gets in the show. Yeah, exactly. It's Hollywood cookie cutter editing. Well, it's see, when you do a TV series, when you do a documentary, you can have a little bit of excitement build for the ending. Yeah. Even if it's just, yes, we found this and we're going to analyze it. Okay. Yeah. That's all fine and dandy. TV shows need to keep the viewer watching for the next episode, the next episode, the next episode, the next episode.
And you can get burned too in that editing deal because they might film your segment and then that's it. Your segment is just part of this whole documentary, and ended up the documentary was supporting somebody that hoaxes.
Well, yeah, I'll give you a great example of an edit that I got was the truth behind the Loch Ness Monster. And thankfully they played my exact quote later on in the film, but for the beginning they said this is something this is grade A technology and we're going to get it. No, what I said was this is grade A technology and with any luck we're going to get it.
Right.
But they took with any luck out for that little bit. Now I understand timing, but you know why they did that. They built it up like, oh yeah, we're going to
yes,
I get that.
You watch to the end, you're going to see the Loch Ness Monster.
But in the show, they at least put my entire quote.
Right.
So I grant them that okay, that was a fair edit. Try to build up some excitement. That's fair. It wasn't used disingenuously. Right. But if they had put that in there in the middle and did not give me the full quote, I would have been a little bit pissed off. Right. It sounds like I'm like, woohoo! Yeah. No, I wasn't. This is grade A technology, and if this works, we're gonna get it, or something to that effect. It wasn't. No, I don't look like Wild Bill from Mountain Monsters. Hoo-yah! Anyway, hoorah!
Oh man, I loved that show. I did. I used to watch it all the time. I haven't watched it in years now, but I used to watch it all the time. And my favorite episode was the one they did, the Ohio Grassman, where I don't know what his name was, the heavyset shorter guy.
We're gonna get Buck, we're gonna get the Grassman.
Yeah.
Right, and I get that. And if you watch it from the aspect of knowing that this is just a show and it's phony, you'll get a few laughs, and that's it. Yes. But if you're looking at it from a research standpoint, you're going to get frustrated as hell. So I never recommend to do that. Right. Any program you can watch is fine and dandy. Is the Expedition Bigfoot thing. That's so god dang disingenuous. Because I stopped watching after season 1 because of all the stuff I was seeing, and it was so disingenuous, and to me it just ruins it. It's like you're trying to put this out as something serious, and you obviously realizing that it's not anymore. Right. That there's these little things that like, And I do the same with all documentaries now, or any TV show. Ghost hunters. When they come in, they here's the camera crew shooting from that side of the house. So it's how authentic is that? They've already set the scene. So hardly anything you see is spontaneous.
Yeah.
Now there are some very well documentaries that are done that are spontaneous, or have elements of being spontaneous within it, wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
And that's why. But it's like you watch. There was a show, Killing Bigfoot, that was on. Very clearly, this was all, all the scenes were set and staged.
Yep.
Now,
Right.
allegedly, they were based on real events, but they were set and staged. To me, that's, again, it has an air of disingenuousness when you do it that way. That's, so.
There's no shortage of stuff to watch on YouTube and even Prime, Amazon Prime Video. They've got a lot of documentaries on there about Bigfoot. Some of them are pretty decent, and some of them are, well, let me say, most of them are not, but some of them are pretty decent.
Yeah, but what's not decent about them? Is it that they're way out in left field, or is the quality not the greatest?
Well,
like the video quality, or the audio. Yeah,
I give everybody, a pass on the quality of their filming and audio. What I look at is content, because I know, not everybody's got $1 million budget for, $1 million cameras and stuff like that and audio processing equipment. But, some of the stuff is kind of out there. I don't want to say specifics because it might point to a different one. Like, don't want to mention Bigfoot Girl. It's just not for me. Okay, it's
yeah.
Some people might enjoy it, but not. I didn't.
I kind of look at it this way. There are programs out there. I don't take, hey, if they're getting the meat of the matter out there and it's legit and it's, okay, they're recalling, they're talking to some witnesses and stuff like that. That's all great.
Yeah.
Oh, now Mick, now you're being insulting.
Let's not even mention that.
The narrative is lost, not because of anybody that's been doing the hard work. It's been because of all, the attention paid to to all this other stuff. This all nonsense. That's the reason why. You look at certain efforts like the Olympic Project, the Bluff Creek Project. There's stuff going down in Texas with the what is it? The Sasquatch Inquisition Project. I guess they're calling it the Relic Hominid Project with Dr. Meldrum. There's some really, really good stuff. Then you have the junk science that's ruined it, like the Ketchum Project, or the Erickson Project, which eventually was sounding like it was going to be a good deal, but it turned out to be horrendous, and that's why you've never seen it. Because they fell in line with the Scott Carpenters, the Melba Ketchums, and the probably the Krishna Wells of the world that want to espouse this junk stuff. And sorry if I'm throwing names out there, folks. I'm not pulling any punches today. Let's be real about this.
Well, that could have been a thing to where they were a little embarrassed to be hoodwinked and had by some locals with a hair-colored Wookiee costume. More than likely.
Yeah.
I wonder. That contact. I wonder if he would have like hands on the costume that was used. Remember Matilda?
Oh yeah, no, that came
I'm wondering.
from Canada. Matilda.
I'm wondering.
Matilda came from Canada, I believe.
Are you sure?
I am pretty
The
sure.
one sleeping?
Yeah, I think that was. But either way,
Wookie.
yeah. I mean, good God! And then there was the pancake eater. That happened in Crittenden with the pancake eater.
I've got those. Well, had those videos somewhere. And how can you make anything out of that?
I don't know.
How you've seen what I'm talking about, right?
Right. Absolutely.
This was like a I don't know what you would call it, a little person Bigfoot or something. I don't want to say dwarf, but it's very small in stature.
I don't. But anyway, yeah,
fake.
Yeah, it's all. And that was the other thing too, is that we banked, and that was another reason why we lost the narrative, is because for years we banked on those two projects. Between 2008, 2007 through 2013, we all banked on the Erickson project and the Ketchum study, and everything went to crap fast. Yes. Why? Because the infiltration of some of these folks,
right,
that espouse these crazy, well, I'm not going to say crazy, but espouse these non-traditional, pseudo-scientifical ideas into these studies and these projects. And I'm sure that dismayed the actual scientists on the Erickson project. I'm sure they had some experiences that were legit, but in no way did they make the in no way did they ever make the cut for the film. I'm sure of it.
Well, Steve, maybe with Erickson bankrolling that project, I don't think there was any shortage of people coming out of the woodwork to collect money to help move that along. And I'm not saying that every one of the researchers did something questionable, but I think maybe some of them did.
Yep. And
no offense to anybody that worked on that.
Hey, there is no doubt that the original owners of the house in Crittenden were money hungry.
Yeah,
no doubt whatsoever.
Yeah,
incredible story behind
that. We got the inside info on a lot of that. Yeah,
and then again, was the Erickson project, is Adrian Erickson completely to blame for that? Well, I always believe that, hey, the buck stops at the top. So yes, he is to blame for that. But
I disagree. I don't think he is. I don't think he's to blame for it. I think he was just had. That's what I think.
That's right, Joe. I did say scientifical. I'm speaking my New Yorkese right now. When I get on a roll, I tend to speak New Yorker.
Yeah. I put the radiator in the car.
Nikki asked, how did J.C. Johnson get involved with that whole thing in the Ketchum project? And well, I guess he had that toenail that came from the Four Corners area, and the toenail
skunk in the pipe. DNA.
Skunk in the pipe. That's right. That is correct. Not the toenail. Right.
Yeah.
He had some blood that was, so that's how he got involved, and that sample got taken away. There was blood in a pipe, and they believed
he submitted a sample. That's the only way JC was ever involved with it. He had a sample. He said, "I think this might be Bigfoot related," and Ketchum got it. So I'm sure,
Well, he's not here to. Yeah, he's not here to
exactly
speak for himself.
That's
but it's kind of funny watching him at that press conference that year. He didn't say very much. He was very quiet, and he didn't look very happy.
Right.
That much I know. JC was one of those guys, though, would never say a bad thing normally about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand-up guy. Always was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a sample that he had submitted. That's how his involvement in there, and
that was That's all I would say. JC's involvement was limited to submitting the sample, and he may have been at a couple of press conferences because JC, if you didn't know him, he was a talker. I mean, he had a very good voice. He was very very well rehearsed. He could talk from the hip and sounded rehearsed. He's a great guy. I miss him so much. No longer with us.
Yeah. I think he's got a lovely daughter too. Good guy. Out there on some of the things he believed in, but hey, you know what? He didn't ever hurt anybody. And he truly believed what he was saying.
Yes.
However, there is a certain, guy in Florida, and this is also part of the problem, who makes films, who now likes to badmouth everybody, except he decides to go off with, the guy on the West Coast. But now he has a dispute with him. What a surprise. Wow. What a surprise, because you know what? People have had disputes with this guy ever since he's gotten involved, and he's bad news. Bad news. Bad news. Stay away. Stay away. And he doesn't like it too bad. And there's a track record.
Mick mentioned the Falcon Project. Yeah, that never got off the ground.
Falcon Project, yeah.
That's right.
That never got off the ground. Actually, it did get a ground team, and I hate to put this to people, but there was a whole controversy over that. Where the money go? And,
a lot of the ground team, they had to pay their own way to get there.
Got stranded. Yeah, they had to pay their own way back. They told they were going to do this and do that, and
they had to, I think they also had to bring their own food in the field. Now there was used to be, when we was on the Bigfoot forums, there was a thread on that. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, because I haven't looked in a while. But that whole deal where they were doing the Falcon Project is documented over there, and some of the guys that from that forum went and volunteered for the Falcon Project, and they were there on their own dime, man. I mean, they paid for everything. I think they even paid for their food and stuff while they were there. So that's dedication. You got to take your hat off to them.
And I think that's a case of, and see, with a lot of people don't understand is, how many, Chris, you know me, how many pilots have I shot for TV series over the years?
I don't know.
I think I've shot 4.
Okay, I know.
4. I've shot in 4. Right. And
I
think
more than me.
Right. And I think what the case is in Hollywood is very selective as to the shows they want to do. And of course, maybe part of it's me being, for lack of a better word, a dick about things. I'm not the guy that's going to say everything is a Bigfoot. I'm going to look at it very analytically. Right. Maybe that wasn't their cup of tea, and that's maybe why the shows didn't, necessarily feather out.
Yeah.
What I think happened with the Falcon Project is the same thing that happens when you shoot sizzle reels from every production company. Oh man, that was great. We got a show. We're going to be putting this out to the network next week. We got a show. This is what we're going to be. This is what the tentative contract is going to look like. We got a show, man. This is great stuff. We're going to do it. And then what happens? Crickets. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Nothing. So then what I think happened with the Falcon Project is that William Allen Barnes was told all that by the Hollywood guys. Oh yeah, we got a show. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be paying that. All right, let's get the team out here. Let's get in play. We should have an answer. We should know by next week. So he gets the team out there. The team goes in place, and then they call him back and say, "I'm sorry.
Yeah,
network wasn't interested."
Yeah,
that's probably what happened.
Probably.
Right.
Don't know.
Don't know.
Likely,
but that is a likely scenario of what may have happened. Yeah. Because I know he was really looking for Hollywood money, and that was his big thing. He was talking to me about at the time. And what ends up happening is that Hollywood wasn't interested in the blimp or the team. because it was too scientific for them. It's great for a documentary, right? But not great for a TV series. And that's what I found out about myself. I'm not great for a TV series because I'm too effing analytical and not everything is a Bigfoot. That's what I found out.
Well, a lot of time they probably want somebody to go along with
the
taking
Kerry
evidence, too.
Arnold documentary. I'm not sure if I know that one. I don't know the Kerry.
That's the guy that cut off his hand or something.
I don't know.
He got stuck. He fell. He was cliff climbing or something, or free hand climbing, and fell in a cliff. If it's the same one, he got like stuck for so many hours, and he ended up having to cut his hand off to get out.
Yeah. Tim Fasano was. I miss him too. He was an okay guy, but he. I had to call him out on a couple things before too, and he admitted it. Like he manned up and admitted it, which is more than anybody else did. He kind of faked the website and started attacking himself, me, and some other people for whatever reason. He was attacking me, and when I called him on it, we actually ended up becoming quite friendly to one another. Yeah, he is kind of a wild card, and I think some of the stuff he brought on himself, but I don't think he ever meant anything maliciously in his life. After talking to him and having some long conversations with him.
Odyssey.
But Bigfoot Odyssey. Oh, yeah.
168 hours. Is this what it was?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to Google that, folks. I was thinking something else.
I remember hearing something about it, but I don't remember it. It's been so long. There's just so much. So I think that's all part of the pies that have really pulled this narrative off, that nobody is paying attention really. I know Seth Breedlove has done a great job at paying attention to the people that are doing good stuff. So at least that's one positive thing. He visited the Olympic Project. He visited,
It's a Bigfoot documentary, Steve.
Okay.
168 hours. What the heck was I thinking about?
That's a long documentary.
What was the movie I was thinking about? About the guy that cut off his hand. I have to Google that now. What the heck? Oh gosh, who was in there?
Poor Chris. He's thinking about people cutting off appendages.
Yeah, the brain is frozen. I have a computer here.
Okay, they went to try to capture skunk ape proof. I don't know. Yep. So, Alex Petikoff has a great show as well.
Oh,
yep.
Got it. It was 102. I was thinking of 127 hours. That was the movie. It had James Franco in it. 127 hours. My bad.
That's right. I prefer 60 minutes.
I was wrong, and I admitted it. Ding! Wasn't that easy?
Wasn't there a show 13 hours also?
No comment.
24 and 60 minutes.
Yeah, the 127 hours was the one with James Franco where he cut off his hand.
Well, yes.
Well, it was based on a true story, too. But 168 hours.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, bud.
Chris, I did read the world's shortest book the other day.
What was it?
My Search for the Real Killers by O.J. Simpson.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad.
Sorry.
Oh, poor OJ.
I'm just waiting for the chat to react to that one here in a few seconds. I'm waiting for the booze.
Oh, that's terrible. Sorry, OJ. I apologize.
Sorry, OJ.
I apologize for that. That's too bad. Hey, he did his time, man. Come on,
He didn't do his time for Nicole.
Well,
he did a time for armed robbery. What that happened?
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm skeptical. we'll start a new debate topic about OJ. Did OJ do it? I don't think so. I don't think he did. I think it was suicide.
I was kind of waffling on it, but then I saw how things fettered out, and yeah. And
here's the thing. When great things in history happen, everybody always remembers where they were at that time. Like, you talk to older people, not much older than me, but a little older than me. Where were you at when you heard that JFK had been assassinated? And they can tell you, oh yeah, I was at work, and or I was over in the cornfield and spraying some corn, and I heard that on the radio. Where were you, Steve, when OJ was being chased in the white Bronco?
I was at work.
See, everybody know. Just think, everybody in the chat, listen. Just think, where were you when you first heard OJ was being chased in the white Bronco?
I was at work, and my boss called me up. He said, "Hey, you seen the TV?" I'm like, "No." Better get on it. I went down to the break room. I'm like, "Oh."
I remember I was working running a Bullard template turn machine at Eaton Axle Division in Glasgow, Kentucky, and that came over the radio, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding
I also remember where I was during Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bob asked interesting. Would we take Alec Baldwin Bigfooting? Yes, I would just give him a can of bear mace, and that's about it.
No problem.
No weapons for him.
No.
I wouldn't give weapons either to Dick Cheney if I had Dick Cheney.
No, would not go bird hunting with Dick Cheney.
Do not go bird hunting with Dick Cheney. No. I'm starting to wonder if Alec Baldwin framed OJ. Oh man!
Oh, dude, it's too early. It really is. It's too early. It's too early. That is a bad.
Oh, Jeff asked, "Where were you during Porkygate?" Strangely, I forget.
Oh man!
Hey, and welcome Jeff Harding, and who else that came in?
Yeah, Jeff, welcome.
Bushwhacking with Rooster. Hello, Bushwhacking with Rooster. Good to see you.
Name. Bushwhacking.
And of course,
with
Bigfoot
Rooster.
New York. Todd's in the house too.
Welcome.
So everybody, yeah. So I think that's all this stuff is really like, I see some really good work being done out there. And there's a lot of other researchers that do good work. Tim Stover does excellent work with his thermal stuff.
Yes.
John Redchun does some very interesting work and good work. Of course, we got Bigfoot Joe over there from Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group does great work. Tactical Bigfoot Research does great work. There's many others. Mike Waldy from Texas Bigfoot Rangers does some good work. Nikki Cologne does great work at Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks as well.
Good job.
Pat Turner, he does more of a talk show, Nikki gets out there once in a while, but Pat does more of a talk show, does a great job as well.
Yeah.
We do know the Sasquatch Experience is back on with Sean Forker. That's back. I'm sure, Eric Altman's work has been, great. There's just so many to, Darren Lee and his group do some great work. There's just so many out there that do really good work. And it's just so disappointing that, as Darren would call them, the carnival barkers get most of the attention.
Yeah.
That's part of why the Bigfoot narrative, the real Bigfoot narrative of Bigfoot, is being lost. We forget. Nobody talks about the family driving down the road to see one crossing the road, or no one talks about like the experience of the Gaelics on the Gaelic farm back in the early 60s, or the incidents like at the siege at Honubby, where there's some trauma, or the Ford farm back in the centerpiece of the legend of Boggy Creek.
Yeah.
Those are the real stuff that's been going on.
Good stuff.
And some of those have been highlighted because of the extra bit of it. But what about the Dan Gordons, the Brian Goslings, the John Weitzel's of the world that have had these encounters and experiences? And in John's case, it was in the daytime. And he was, very acclimated to the mountain, did not even believe in the existence of a Sasquatch, I believe. And there it is. How do you reconcile that? That is the real story that's being missed. That is the narrative that used to be covered 20 years ago, 22, 23 years ago when I got involved in this. 23 years. When I got involved in this, those were the cases that got attention. Those were the cases people were reading. Now it's been replaced by people with cloaking Bigfoots and bodies in freezers and bogus DNA projects and Bigfoot's eating pancakes and this is what we're left with. And then we wonder why the narrative is lost. The narrative has been lost because, Hollywood is paying attention to this crap and not what it should be. The real stories, the real people that are affected. They always they'll find the craziest Bigfoot witness. Like, remember the guy from South Carolina, the big Tim, I think his name
Tim
was.
Peeler.
Tim Peeler with the big sticks. They loved getting on him. Why? Why did they, to me, you want to talk about, we're in this universe now where, all this, the woke stuff or whatever, tell me CNN was not picking on a guy from the backwoods there.
That's exactly what they were making fun of him because he was from the hills. That's all.
That's right. He was not a very educated guy.
Yeah.
He was an Appalachian probably
Yeah.
from the woods. And they decide to spotlight him to make him look like an effing idiot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me, how is that not racist or wrong?
Yeah, it's wrong. But that's what they do. And that's why I will not do any interviews with news reporters, especially if they call the house and ask me to do something with them. I'll tell them quickly in no short terms to get stuffed. Because I know exactly what their game is. I know what they want to do, and I have no interest in participating in it. Yes, WBKO, this means you.
Well, I remember being on Fox and Friends, and I got a snarky question from Brian Kilmeade, and I just ignored it.
Yeah.
I just ignored it like he wasn't even there. And at that point, I felt like reaching through the microphone and choking the sumbitch out.
Well,
because that was,
and two, if you've seen one,
I almost came off with a very smart ass remark. And it was like a split second decision. I said, no, I'm just going to ignore it. But he said, "Oh, is that all you think about?"
Oh,
yeah. He said that.
Oh.
And I felt like saying, "No, big boy, I think of you too."
I think about
I almost
your mom.
said that. I should have said that. I think of your mom too.
Is that all you think about? No, I thought about your mom.
Well, that would see what would have happened was that would have gotten bleeped out if I said something.
Yes, it would have. Yes,
so I said, "No, I think of you."
Yeah. Yeah, but some of those guys, they got an agenda, and you have to recognize it and just not be interested in participating. And the other people too, you'll have some skeptics. If you've had a sighting yourself, and if you're out there, you know who you are.
Yeah.
And if you tell somebody and they'll say, "I don't believe you, you need to convince me." Yep. Then you need to tell them to get stuffed. You don't care what they believe.
Right.
It don't matter whether you believe me or not. You think I'm lying? That's fine. Good for you.
Okay. So we do have a question, some questions and comments. We're getting to them. So here we go. So first, Steve, what's your take on Stan Gordon's penchant for linking Sasquatch with UFOs? I know Stan. Stan's a friend of mine. I don't agree with him. I just don't see the logic in it, but that's his belief, and he's entitled to his belief. I will argue it vehemently that it's just a happenstance, a coincidence in a lot of cases, or just. I'm not saying Stan is, but some of the people that make these reports that Stan may believe may just be quackery too. Bob Lemmy says, you ever want to meet a survivalist, get to know an Appalachian person? Absolutely. Jeff Harding made a great comment too. There's no glory in kayaking 20 miles a day to collect hair and prints. You need a blurry video of a friggin' porcupine to get people talking. Truth. Very much truth. And you know why I say that?
Yeah.
And Chris and Prairie Fire, better late than never.
Yeah, good to see you. Welcome.
Okay, so Chris can tell you this too. Am I doing the Donald Trump thing? Anyway, we're gonna have a fantastic show. Anyway, I'm
well,
but Chris can tell you this. I bitch all the time that my videos, like on MK Davis, Todd Standing, will have 5 or 6 times the hit rate that a video on that I do a video on a witness or evidence video. Is that not true, Chris?
Yeah.
I said that. Unfortunately, people like the bullshit drama. Pardon my French.
Yeah. But there really is. There's no recognition for somebody that gets out. Like I'll tell you what, man. The shortest trek that I did in the woods was 6 miles. That's the shortest trek I could go on. 6 miles, and that was 3 miles out and 3 miles back to the vehicle. Okay, and then I did some of them was 12 to 16 miles, and I would do that like at least every other day. And this was before we got down with the health. But
when I remember the early days of Sasquatching,
and I did a lot of those trips.
I used to go up that mountain barefoot in the snow, both ways.
One of these days, I'm going to climb that mountain. But, a lot of the time, 99.9% of the time, I would not see any new evidence or have a sighting. And that's just part of it, dude.
I remember the day when night vision used to cost a nickel. Sorry, Pop.
Killing me. But yeah, you take somebody that has put in the mileage and boots on the ground, and there's no recognition for it. But you take somebody that porcupine video, and it goes viral. Oh boy.
Yeah. Almost as bad as the bear sitting in the tree. They got listed as a Bigfoot. And even the people on the ground aren't calling it a Bigfoot. They guys just put it up there on YouTube. Oh, a Bigfoot in the tree.
Yeah.
And people were buying it.
Yeah. Well, if Stan wants to look at Bigfoot and the UFO phenomenon and maybe try to compare them, that's great. I'm on the.
You know what? At least Stan doesn't go out there and put up evidence that's BS.
Right.
He
looking into
says,
something
hey, this
is
what
different
it is.
Than right.
This is what it is. I get that.
I've not seen anything that would lead to any other thought of them than being a biological organism. So
Well, they leave footprints.
Yeah.
They're naked.
And I'd always thought
that was always my biggest complaint. Is okay, Bigfoot is an alien. How the heck did that happen again? Bigfoot is an alien. Okay, well, when we go to other planets, do we go on the other planet naked?
No, we didn't go on the moon naked. Hadn't been to Mars.
Well, number
yet,
one,
really.
we wouldn't be able to stand the environment. But okay, but here's the thing: why wouldn't we be wearing breathing apparatus? Even if, let's say a Bigfoot comes from another planet. Let's just play this hypothetical. Okay, and this is logic 101, folks. Science, a little bit of science thrown in there. So, let's say we find a planet that is compatible to us breathing. We can breathe that atmosphere. When we first go there, do we wear breathing apparatus?
Yes.
Or do we not? Or we just walk out on natural? We wear breathing apparatus.
Yes.
Why?
Well, that's very easy. Very easy.
Let's see. Chat room. Why do we wear breathing? If we discovered another planet that's compatible with our atmosphere, why would we enter that atmosphere wearing breathing apparatus and not breathing the actual air itself? Anybody? Any takers? And okay. So
we got a little delay. So
we got a little bit of a delay.
Anybody want to bite?
I better not do that too much. That might be copyrighted.
And this goes back to a popular Hollywood movie, an old movie, actually written from an old book.
The reason why is because we are not acclimated to that planet's bacteria.
Western New York Bigfoot got it.
Yep. Did he? I haven't seen it. Oh yeah, alien microbes. Yep, exactly.
Alien microbes.
There it is.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly. We're not constrained to their. So we would not send. And it goes the same too. If Bigfoot was an alien, why would they not be wearing all this apparatus to protect themselves? Because especially being dropped off in the forest, when you have parasites like leeches and mosquitoes and ticks and deer flies and all that stuff, you would be wearing some kind of protective clothing.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense why an advanced civilization would just come out naked.
They wouldn't have any resistance to our bacteria
viruses
and stuff. Yeah.
You know, and the whole gambit. That's
and
why
I always
it makes
thought
no
that
sense.
You know, if Bigfoots had been aliens, I mean, they would have nuked us out of existence long ago. We'd all be nuked, and they'd be taking over the planet. That's what I'd do. Yeah,
Jeff. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. So I spent 33 weeks carrying 18 months partnership with Doug Hycheck, collecting DNA items we deploy in one area. One blurry pick with head circles is more interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's it, Jeff. You put in the miles, and what did you get out of it?
No lie. I purposely did not show this picture today on purpose, but I had seen a picture and doing some research of this guy that had like 7 circles above a concrete brick, on the concrete brick, saying, "Oh, there's Bigfoots in this picture." Like, oh my God.
And they were like this tall. Right? Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't see anything, to tell you the truth. And the Bigfoots were the size of alien microbes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's the thing. Somebody made a comment also. Mick said, my problem with Stan Gordon, he states, wherever Sasquatch are sighted, so are UFOs. That's simply not true. That is true. There are a lot of places, though, Bigfoot are seen, and so are UFOs, but think about where Bigfoot's seen. Bigfoot are seen in areas with low light.
Yeah.
So where would you most likely be able to see UFOs? In areas with low light.
Yeah.
So where you would stargaze, where you would put up a telescope to watch.
Coincidence.
So, yeah, it's all coincidence. It's like saying, well, a Bigfoot must eat bear because Bigfoot's always seen in the same area as bear. You know, no, they're both in the forest. You know, so the same thing is, you know.
Oh God, our chat. These guys are so smart. They tickle me to death too.
You know, and you know, Grass, Mountain Monster is just a reflection of 90% of the Squatchers out there these days.
Yeah.
I disagree. I disagree. That's
I know. I'm right there with Grasshopper.
I don't, because I've seen a lot of, you know, I have been through the country. Unlike a lot of folks, I've been East Coast to West Coast, North to South, and I've seen a lot of Squatchers. And no, there are some, yes, that are a little bit like that, but not to the extreme. Not to that extreme. Not to that, you know, kind of acting. Most of them are not. Most of them want to learn. Most of them want to, you know.
Okay, yes, Steve. But now I got to jump in here on behalf of Grasshopper, because if you'll notice 90% of the YouTube channels you watch are going to be people attempting to do stuff like mountain monsters did.
Well, you also got to remember that 90% of the YouTube channels are just pure bullshit.
Yes.
And they're not true researchers.
Right.
And our good friend
but
said
there
true
are
researchers are not the ones you hear, in my opinion.
exactly right. That's
I agree.
it. That's it.
Most true researchers.
Yeah, most. They're the guys out there in the woods.
No, I don't disagree with most of it. I'm just saying from my standpoint, and you see that's part of how the real narrative of Bigfoot is lost. And this is the exact point I'm trying to make. This is the exact point I'm trying to make, is that statement right there, Alan, is that is not true. That's what you believe because that's your perception because of the garbage out there. That is why we have lost the narrative. The truth is there's a lot of people I know that don't even get on YouTube, don't get on Facebook, don't do any of that are doing the real research.
Yes.
That's the reason why. That is why exactly the narrative has been lost, because that statement is not true. I've been thousands and tens of thousands of miles across this country for the last 23 years.
Yes,
and that is exactly why the narrative is lost, because you believe that, and that's what the general public believes.
That's right.
Not the truth.
The majority of the people believe that, Steve, because they have not had the experiences that you have had, and they not talked to the hundreds and possibly thousands of researchers that you have over the years. They go by what they see online, which
good Lord. I see some of these pups that are around 5 years that think they know everything about everything.
Yeah.
I've known more researchers that have died than they know in their that are in their Rolodex right now.
Yeah.
Not tooting my own horn. I'm just
not
saying
everybody. Yes, but that's what I'm saying. That the grasshopper's point, Steve, too. The average person does not have the same experience as what you have. They have not traveled the United States and spoken with hundreds, likely thousands of researchers.
Right. And you know what? I agree. Woo-woo is spreading but these people aren't real researchers.
Right.
You think about it, they're going to Bigfoot, hello. Oh, I'm going to put this recorder here.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you can turn it off. Remember that video, Chris? Remember that video we played like within the first couple of months of this show when we went to Squatch-D TV? I played that video of, don't leave cameras in the Bigfoot zone. That's not polite. Oh my God, I just want to
Yep.
Don't cry, Joe. No, but here's what I want to talk about last few minutes of the show here. How do we fix this? We stay true to ourselves. We all have to take an active part in pointing our finger at the wrong. There are too many people that don't want to make waves. Right? What happens when you don't stand up for what's right? What happens when you stand up that isn't right? The wrong happens. That's what happens.
If you stand by and do nothing, then you're participating in letting a great evil continue. Yeah. And by saying something about it, you've taken a stand against it, Steve.
You know why? People ask me, why did the History Channel come to me? Why did NatGeo come to me? Why did any of these come to me? Because because they were documentaries and they were the ones that wanted straight answers, not bullshit answers. That's why they came to me.
Yeah.
Not everything's Bigfoot, but we're gonna charge in there hard and find out. That's why they came to me. The bottom line is this. The general public wants to be entertained. At least that's what Hollywood thinks, and Hollywood is wrong. See, that's the problem with too many of us researchers, that we're all thinking about that Hollywood game. I'd love to have my own TV show. Yeah, and for a while, I would too, but I would never ever compromise how I do things or the way I do things. Never.
Yeah.
Never, never, never. Did that cost me shows? Probably.
There's nothing wrong.
Don't care.
There's
Don't
nothing wrong with having your own show. That's fine. But you got to make sure you do it with integrity. And the minute they ask you to sidestep that integrity, you tell them to get stuffed because they're not going to take your integrity from you.
Oh, I agree as well. I never try to prove they exist to people. My mission is to educate. Yeah. They don't have to believe me if they don't want to. I don't care.
Yep.
My job is to get that evidence, to pass it on to science so they can do what they need to do with it. That's my job. As an investigator, that is my job. So
if we got evidence to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Yep.
And if we like it, we'll say, hey, I like this. If we don't like it, sorry. Don't pass the sniff test. You know.
Yep.
And a lot of the evidence these days, well, a lot, majority is nothing. It's just, made up crap.
Well, it's...
When we're going to get another Patterson Gimlin film,
Well, you see, that's also a side effect of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because, hey, nothing happened on this mission. We got to come up with something. Oh, look.
Right.
Look, there's the cloaking Sasquatch. We got to come up with something exciting.
They got to produce. Right.
There you go. We got to produce something, to help your little, there's sycophantic ways of being, well, I know everything. I'm a knower. Come on, will ya? That's right. This is, I bet you get some medals. Crappy pig spellers as they all deserve it on it.
That's true, Jeff.
I agree. That's right. Yeah, send Belgium a crappy man-made print and see if he sugarcoats a pin, and he won't.
Yeah.
He will not.
Lestrade tried that. Lestrade made up a good, as good a fake casting as could be made, I think. He did a fine job faking that. And Meldrum looked at it with one eyebrow up and said, It was pretty easy to say if you viewed that show when Meldrum took a look at Lestrade's fake casting. Meldrum was looking at it, and then as he got into it a little bit more, first he was kind of excited, then he started looking at it a little bit more, and then that's when the questions started coming. Oh.
But how do we stop this? I'll tell you how we stop.
Yeah.
We stop this by really calling stuff out. So that's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Stop the woonacy.
We need to relaunch that. That's what needs to be done. We need to call this shit out and be logical, kind. We need to be kind. That's another thing. You don't call them out by being nasty about it. Now you're going to have people like in Porcupine Gate, they're going to just ban you and block you. Then you start calling them out, which has happened multiple times right now.
You don't take it personally, don't
no.
make it personal.
Don't make it personal. Don't take it personal. They're the ones that are going to take it personal. We need to keep moving forward. We need to call it out. Say, hey, I have questions. Start with questions. Because you know what? If you start asking serious questions, they're going to collapse. If they have answers, then guess what? Then you apply some unbiased critical thinking to it. Okay, well, maybe they do have something. Because like I've said, there's a lot of excuses. There's a lot of scientific reasons why somebody may have a woo experience. We've talked about PTSD. We've talked about the having some amnesia, temporary amnesia because of a trauma. We've talked about the mind and its delay of trying to comprehend what you're seeing. So we've talked about the effects of infrasound. So those are all legit experiences for having a oh, it spoke to me, or it just disappeared in front of me. There's legitimate reasons, and we shouldn't discount these people's stories because of that. And I'm not saying we should. But what I'm saying is when a researcher keeps putting out pictures after pictures of stumps and circles and stuff like that and saying, see the Bigfoot, see the Bigfoot, see the Bigfoot, and expects everybody to see it, call them out and say you don't see it. Where is this research area? What noises have you captured? What video have you captured? Where's the prints? Where any of that? Because these things are invisible or spiritual. Why are they leaving tracks? Yep. And like I said, you don't get emotionally attached to your evidence.
Yeah.
You look at every piece of evidence and evaluate it. Constantly doing that.
Evaluate your own evidence too before you show it to somebody else.
Or show it to another researcher, not in public. Hey,
right.
what do you think of this? Yeah. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
I have about 4 or 5 researchers, some very not good ones too, that send me stuff every once in a while. Say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, this is pretty blurry, man.
Save the red marker. Lester, I like that one too.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Actually, I think we're gonna have to add that one to save the red marker. Maybe dump the red marker. Yeah, I mean. Yeah. There are times that you do have to kind of circle something. I have no problem with blob squatches if people are actually seeing what they're seeing. The blob squatches I have problems with are the ones where people are taking pictures. Oh, I was just randomly taking pictures and look at all the Sasquatch here in the picture. Seeing them all close. Yeah. That's a problem I have with them.
See, that's the thing too. When you take a photo or a video, you've got to do a follow-up. You have to go back like the next day and do another photo or another video of the same exact area. That way you can hold them up side by side and do a comparison. Well, this one has something blobby in it. This one has nothing in it other than the trees and stuff, So what is the blobby thing? And why is it not there now? You've got to do a comparison video or comparison photo.
There we go. It seems like we're a red marker. Or how about hashtag no red. How about this one?
No red circles. Hey, that's a really good one. Yeah. Because the red circles is the one that used to be most popular at the forums. No red circles. And I've seen those on all sorts of photographs, including a picture from a guy in Florida who was taking a picture. You know how they like dig ditches like in behind the house for drainage and stuff?
Yep.
He had a picture of the side of his ditch that was like grass, blades of grass. And he had like 50 red circles. I'm exaggerating. There's at least 20 red circles. Right where the blades of grass. So the Bigfoot would have had to have been like this tall, the height of a blade of grass. And like, dude, you can't be serious.
So just as I had a guy send me not just a red circle, but auto pen in the eyes, mouth. His John Madden skills were impressive. Well, okay, so I got a story for that. I once had a guy do that, and what I did was, can you send me the raw picture? And I resent it back to him. I said, no, this is Abe Lincoln. And I drew an Abe Lincoln into it with the top hat and all and a beard. And I sent it back to him. Hey, dude, I never got another piece of junk mail from that person.
I got a picture one time, and in the background and the foliage in the tree, it looked like Saddam Hussein. I swear to you, I sent that to Steve, and Steve said, look, you see Saddam Hussein up there in the tree. Look at that. And sure enough, it was.
Osama bin Sasquatch.
Pareidolia.
Circles there. You guys are going to give me nightmares. So,
yeah.
Well,
blob photos are not really helpful for research. They're not. But it does prove something, though. if some guy says, I saw a Bigfoot came down and stood next to this apple tree, and I took this blurry photo of it. Okay, and you can't really tell that there's a Bigfoot there, just some big blur. Okay, if you look at the apple tree and see that there's no big blur next to it, well, okay, he got a photo of something. Don't know what it was, but something, created this image.
Right.
That's about all I can do.
Well, I think circles are perfectly acceptable on videos, but on photos, you should have it right there. And Jeff said, somebody made a great point too about saying that, instead of learning about photography, people go out there now with their cell phone cameras and just have a field day, babes in Toyland type of thing too. And I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just how the real narrative is getting lost. And like I said, the thought that it's just the people that are invested in having these daily experiences with Bigfoot just cling to social media, understand their reasoning. Okay. Psychologically, they want the attention, they want the accolades, they want their elevation of status, right? So of course they're going to be barking the biggest on social media. That's why they have YouTube channels full of these videos with yellow circles and experiences. But it's like showing up every day with a pan full of pie crumbs, but no proof that you ever ate the cake or the pie, right? Here's the cake plate with the crumbs. Well, you have any evidence you ate the cake? No.
Cool.
So, honest to God, never going to show a blurry picture, Sasco, even if I know one. Well, you can always share it with your trusted people and say, hey, what do you think? Because you know what? You can always say in your story, listen, I saw what I saw. This is the best picture I ever got. That's okay. There's not an issue with that, at least not to me. And there shouldn't be an issue with anybody else. Because if you're on the gun and, on the move real fast, that happens. That can be understood. The problem I have is people going, oh, Bigfoot there, look at this picture. And, it's like,
there you go, Steve. Put this one up on, I'll do a blob squatch for you. Here's one.
What in the hell?
Can you guys see that?
That a deer?
That's a blob squatch.
Who got that?
That's mine. That's from 2010.
Okay.
That's an old one. And you can't really tell what it is. I mean, there's no, just to see that like a shoulder, head, whatever, dark area there in the middle. That's a blob squatch.
Yep. There we are.
But now we did go back the next day and we did a, whoa, I'm big. We did,
I'm just playing.
We did a follow-up on it. And Brandon Lane, my nephew, was there. And Brandon's probably, I don't know, 6'2", 6'3". He held his hat up in the air, which he's got about a 3-foot long arm, which made where his hat was at was about 9 feet off the ground. That's where the face of that blob was, at the 9-foot mark. But what's that evidence? It's not. It's just a blobby a picture of something.
It's stuff you keep in your own vault. Yeah,
that's it.
And we all have stuff like that. Yeah. I can't say I have a picture of anything even close. I may, there are a series of pictures that, hey, maybe we had a daytime sighting back in 2017, and I remember it was just very brief, and there was a series of pictures taken, and there may be something in it, but you really can't tell. So,
yep, inconclusive.
Yep. Very inconclusive.
Inconclusive, and you got to be like that, whether it's your evidence or somebody else's. If you see it and it looks good, say, hey.
So how is Brandon? How is Brandon doing? It's been a while since we've seen him.
I hadn't spoke with him in a while. I reckon he's going to be deer hunting over on the farm here in the next few days, though. So.
All right, let's go, Brandon.
I might see him. Yeah, I might see him. If he kills the deer, he might want to stop by and show me.
Chris, you missed. I slipped that one right in.
Yeah. I got it. That was actually a funny story, and I've got a little video clip on my YouTube channel, which, believe me, I am big time, dude. I think I'm up to 61 subscribers. But we shot a little short video for Squatch-D TV years ago. And at the end of the video, I'm like doing my outro. I say, okay, I'm Chris Bennett for Brandon and John. And thanks for watching, And after I said that was supposed to be the end of the shot. And then Brandon said, "Hoorah!" Oh, it tickled me to death.
Yep.
I said, Brandon makes it his own.
Sure does. Well, Chris, it's that time. Believe it or not.
Oh, man.
We have flown by. I can't believe we actually managed to bullshit for 2 hours.
Well, it's just a conversation,
Yeah. Well, I know, when usually I get these deep-seated ideas and projects, and sometimes it just needs to be said. So now next week we will move forward with a different attitude.
Yeah,
but
I like the back and forth with everybody in the chat. That's great. You guys, I'll say this before and I'll say it again. You're the sharpest chat, the smartest listeners that any show could ever pray to have, and we're tickled to death to have you. And you guys make the show. You really do. Yeah. We sure try. Speaking about shows, check out Henry May's channel. He does a weekly, roundabout weekly broadcast. It's only like 5 minutes or so, and he puts out a lot of stuff. Henry had a good one out earlier this week. They spotted
thank you, Jeff.
An owl they thought was extinct called the eagle owl, and it was really good stuff. Henry May. Hey, Jeff just donated $5 to the Jeff. My brother, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. But Henry's got a good channel. He needs more viewers. Puts out some good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, we try to put on a good show here every week. We always have some laughs. So, Jeff, good seeing you. Look to see you some more. Appreciate it, Jeff. And we always have a lot of fun, or try to have some fun and some laughs, no matter how serious or bad the topic can be. Sometimes are difficult. And Jeff, you're doing great work out there too. Keep it up. Yeah. And we'll be some of your last words, Chris, before we go. Well, just like to remind everybody, if it's the first time watching us on YouTube, consider giving us a like and subscribe. Once again, we want to thank our wonderful listeners and our great chat room participants. Thank you, guys. You make the show. It's all about you. I appreciate you. And that's all I got, Steve. All right. Okay. Again, we always ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe. Sharing is caring. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified to all our new and upcoming shows. Although I know I kind of schedule these shows a little late in the day on Sunday, unless I have a guest or a topic. If I have something planned out, usually it gets a little faster. So, again, want to thank our podcast listeners too. Yeah, we got to thank all our folks over there at off of our Anchor system, our Anchor FM system. Goes out to iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, and Amazon Music. So we want to say hello to everybody. In case you want to catch the video replay, you can go to squatchdtv.com, squatchdtv.com, and it'll take you right to the channel. So you can always catch the video replay there. We've done a lot of talking today, very little looking. So really good episode for our audio version podcast this week, and we appreciate all you do. Make sure you pop on over here to our YouTube channel and give us a like, share, and subscribe as well. So anyway, on everybody, I want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. And of course, God bless and keep on squatching. We'll catch you here all next week, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on Squatch-D TV.
Hey folks. You've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.